Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, and I'm coming back at you with a new video. Seems like we're already done one video today. Oh, I did do a video today. 2 videos in one day? You guys are lucky. And I say you guys because 98% of you people that watch my video are guys. What are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to try to find a reason to a burning question I've had while collecting vintage Star Wars figures for years. Why did so many people cut the card? Now let's look at this vintage Star Wars Han Hoth figure. I'm not talking about cutting off the proof of purchase that's seen right here. I think we all know why this was cut off, so you can send off for your free figure. Or you could just take this little seal to school and show everybody that you had how many Star Wars figures you had at home because the school made some stupid rule where you couldn't bring your Star Wars figures to school. So to impress Amy Covey, you cut this out right here, or cut out the figure that you had, and you say, hey look, lay them all out on the table, and say, look how many Star Wars figures I have at home. You want to come over and play with my IG-88? You don't? Well, you want to go to the bathroom and play with my Ugnut? I brought it to school. I don't think many people knew what an Ugnut was. Ugnut. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was even talking about there. But there's a lot of people that have figures where they will cut the figure out, leave it on the bubble, but cut the card like this. And I see this a lot, especially since I've been collecting Star Wars as an adult since the early 90s. They come up a lot. Now, for this video, I thought I'd go on Google and find some to throw pictures up so you know what I'm talking about. And I couldn't believe just by Googling how many I found. You would think it would be, okay, random, 1 or 2, but check this out. These is not all I found on Google. These are just the ones I found until I got tired of downloading them. Check it out. See what I mean? They cut the figure out, leave it on the bubble, but cut the figure out. And I've seen this going way back, ever since I've been into vintage Star Wars figures. And I thought I'd ask why. So I took an ad out in my local newspaper and asked a question. Did they have figures cut out? Did they cut the figures out? What's going on with this? And I had people send in a postcard with the answer. And done some research, and I think I've come up with at least a couple of reasons why, and I thought maybe this might be fun for a video if you ever wondered why there's so many of these out there. So let's start with one that I didn't really think I would get that much from, but a lot of people did tell me that this is what they saw. Apparently when Star Wars was going on clearance, now a lot of times Empire Strikes Back was a lot hit, but by the time Jedi came out, probably a year before Jedi, Empire was starting to lose its luster, as most kids didn't have a way to watch Empire Strikes Back before the new movie, so they were going to buy He-Man figures or something else, so some of the figures were starting to hit clearance. That's a real good thing about the Star Wars movies, with one coming out every 3 years. It kind of had a good wave to it, where it had the, oh, new figure wave, okay, I've seen Empire, I've seen it, kind of getting out of Star Wars, whoa, new movie, and they start buying again. Brilliant marketing, George Lucas. But it seems when some of these hit clearance aisles, the stores threw them in clearance bin. And I don't know if clearance bins were a lot smaller in the 80s. It seems stores cut the card. Now a lot of these that end up in the clearance bin I've seen is cut straight across. But yes, some of them cut out just the bubble part. That way they can still sell it as new and not opened and throw it in the bin and save some room. Where you throw these with the card into a bin, you might get 20 before the bin fills up. But if you cut it out, throw it in a bin, you probably get 50. How sad is it to walk into a store and see a Star Wars figure on clearance and it's cut? I wouldn't want to buy it. Look at this beautiful artwork. I mean, this is as good as the Mona Lisa's. So what's another reason? Well, at Christmas time, parents seem to have found this was very hard to wrap. Yeah. Or maybe not just hard to wrap, but maybe they thought kids will know what this is if I wrap it up. I mean, really, if I have some wrapping paper here, I'll show you, but use your imagination. What is this? What is this? Mommy, what'd you get me? Sounds like it's broke. But you see it every time you wrap it, you go, oh, Star Wars figure. I mean, look at it. So to save paper from wrapping it, or maybe just to try to throw little Timmy Thomaston off, they cut the figure out, wrap this up, and then he's got a little, he's like, what is this? Feels like an action figure bubble, but I've never seen an action figure with such a small card. Smart one, parents. And you're going to do a whole bunch of them.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
And now, the other reason is also present related. Now, for a present, you could wrap it up for Christmas, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or whatever you're celebrating. Even a birthday. I've heard where people actually got presents for their birthday. But let's go to Christmas, because I think this is only related to Christmas. Could be wrong. You let me know. They're stocking stuffers. You can't stuff this into a stocking. I don't care how big your foot is. I mean, your foot could be as big as that hairy guy that lives in the woods. But this isn't going to fit in a stocking stuffer. So, without opening the figures, you don't want Timmy to think he got a bunch of used Star Wars figures for Christmas. You just cut it out, throw it in a stocking, and you could look, you could go to the mantle where you have 5 stockings going across, Timmy, Jimmy, Martin, Sue, and put a figure in each one. That seems to be the most common reason, is the stocking stuffer. The second most common reason is parents just didn't know how to wrap this thing back in the 80s. Parents didn't really know how to wrap, or just too lazy to wrap. I mean, they had a lot to do. They had to figure out who shot JR. They had to catch up on the latest episode of Riptide. I mean, can you really blame them? Could you spend all night wrapping this? I mean, what if you set up the time of day where you're going to wrap all 15 figures you bought for your son, and then you find out Jerry Reed is going to be the special guest on Hee Haw? There goes your whole day. You can't be wrapping up this thing right here. So odd shaped. You just have to cut it, wrap it up real fast. I mean, Jerry Reed. That guy was eastbound and down. So that seems to be the most common. And then you have the clearance, which is not most common, but I did have a lot of people tell me they do remember seeing these in clearance bin with the figure cut out. Rude. And I guess back then you didn't need the barcode, because you ever notice they had a barcode in these, but I never saw a scanner until like the late 80s or the 90s. I mean, even in the 1978 figure they had a barcode, but I can't remember ever seeing a barcode anywhere until the late 80s, and mostly until the 90s. But then again, maybe it's because I live in the hick South. Maybe it was something you northern folks got back in the 60s. It just took us a long time to get with the game. Anyway, not really sure if you guys are going to enjoy this video or even know what the hell I'm talking about, but I've seen some of these, and it's always been a curiosity for me of why there's so many of these out there. Again, I can understand if it was just 1 and 2 here and there, but it seems to be very common. Also very common to find them not open. I guess a lot of kids got these in the stocking stuffer and said, all right, Lobot. I got Lobot. Anyway, that's a look of why the action figures were cut out. And I think I only really see this with the Star Wars figures. I'm sure it happened with the other ones also, but even while I was Googling it, I could only find it on the Kenner Vintage Star Wars figures. Let me know in the comments below. Did you cut out your figure? Did your parents cut it out? Stick it in your stuffing? Stick it in your stuff. Stick it in your stocking stuffer? Or would that be stuff it in your stocking stuffer? That's hard to say. Stuff it in your stocking stuffer. Or did you see them at your local Toys R Us in a clearance bin? Let me know that, and whatever else you want to tell me in the comments below. I'm sure I probably said something wrong and it really upset you, and you're going to let me know in the comments below. And as always, please thumb up this video so you like my content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back very soon.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.